Hey, so I wanted to start this thing with a bit of an intro just to kind of introduce, obviously, the playthrough that I'm going to be doing and kind of what the gist of this is going to be. So, this has been requested by a friend of mine who was interested in playing Kenshi, but didn't feel ready to just jump in. So, they kind of asked if I would make like a little guide, if I could. So they said it might be cool. So this is me eventually just getting around to actually doing that. So what I'm going to be doing for this playthrough is using it as a guide for my friends specifically, but you know, maybe it'll work for other people as well. That'd be cool. These are all going to be all this, everything I kind of show is going to be based on my own experiences, so maybe there's something you found that may be better than what I show, but if there is, go ahead and leave a comment, and I can take that as feedback, which would be good for myself and other people looking for guides as well. That's the first part. The second part is that this is going to be a like a single save permadeath playthrough. So, going to be trying my best to survive and not die, obviously. And kind of because I thought that'd be a cool idea for a playthrough. And I have a habit of keeping a log of my playthroughs for Kenshi just because I find it interesting to look back on. And, you know, it's just good as a creative outlet as well. So, that's basically, to summarize, this playthrough is going to be kind of part guide. I'll start each part or episode with a little bit of a guide, going over maybe some feedback if that happens, and then the next bit will be jumping into some gameplay for how the playthrough is progressing, as well as at the same time kind of using it as like a visual aid for also kind of as a guide, you know. So yeah, I mean, let's jump into the first part of the guide segment. I'm not sure what to call that. Maybe we'll call it like the teaching segment. The first part of the first teaching segment. So what I've got here is a kind of something you should have in mind, or at least what I have in mind when going into a playthrough of Kenshi, and that's kind of like what your goal is going in. Obviously the game's a sandbox, so you can, and the whole point of playing a sandbox is to kind of come up with your own goals and, you know, tasks you want to accomplish in the game, and with Kenshi you've kind of you've got a few options, but it kind of all boils down to, in my opinion, whether you're kind of going for survival experience, an exploration of the world of Kenshi, or you're trying to immerse yourself in like a specific kind of playstyle, and I have here traders, farmers, smiths, thieves, bounty hunters. Those are kind of like the things which are like readily apparent in the game. There's like playstyles that you can take. There's like skills for farming and smithing and thievery, and trading is quite lucrative if you can take resources from places where they're plentiful to places where they're scarce. usually the price markup will increase. So you can make quite a bit of profit doing that if you invest in that kind of play style. And then we have bounty hunting as well. So there's a bunch of kind of boss type enemies in the game, and just kind of random other named NPCs as well, which will have bounties, and you can take them to specific factions to get a quick cash reward. But obviously, you'll need to incapacitate the target somehow, so that either will rely on like combat or like assassination, thievery, that kind of thing. But trying to loop back to what I was trying to say, is your goal for going into the playthrough is like, what are you looking for exactly? It's like, are you looking for kind of like a hardcore survival experience? Because Kenshi can kind of offer that. You can just like try your best to get by, you know, find food, crafting, building a base, and then, you know, becoming self-sufficient, that kind of thing. You can, they're kind of will all tie together in a way as well. I've got arrows pointing to each of the different ones. To survive, you don't really need to explore. All you really need is food, and the ability to kind of like heal yourself, kind of thing. Obviously, it becomes easier if you have more resources and technology, that kind of thing. But if your goal is just to survive, you don't really need those things. If you're exploring, then you will still also need to survive, so it will require you to invest in like combat skills in order to take on the kind of like increased difficulty of some areas that you want to explore. Like some of the end game zones, well, obviously the enemies there are quite difficult for you to take on if you're not well prepared, basically. And if you're going for a specific playstyle, then you need to explore in order to find the technology resource, which are like books and research documents and stuff like that, in order to unlock different technologies which are required for playing that kind of playstyle. So maybe not for bounty hunting or trading, those are quite simple. You can just run a caravan or just train up your combat skills and then go out and kick some ass. But farming and smithing will require you to actually go into the research trees to unlock certain technologies to build farms or smithies and stuff. So if I go into my second one I've got here, this is the playthrough that I'm going to be playing. So my goal is survival, just straight up survival. It's going to be a single save permadeath run, so I don't want to die. There may be some other kind of goals that kind of come into that as well, just to kind of make things interesting. In previous playthroughs, I tend to have the end goal as being to beat the final boss of the game, or which is, it's not really arguable, but you know, it takes a long time to get there. So I may have a similar goal for this, because like once you can survive, but at what point do you stop? It's good to have a kind of end point, which I think I'll develop over time. Maybe I won't go for the end boss. Maybe I'll go for some sort of like faction victory or something. Because there's various factions in the game, and each one has its own kind of like quests in a sense. And at the end of the quests, they kind of have like a very stable control over the kind of central region of the map, which is quite cool. But yeah, we'll decide on that one on the fly. So specifically for kind of survival playthroughs, I've put down kind of like your key needs, basically. So obviously you need food because there's the hunger system. You need kind of armor and weapons. I've put down as armaments. You need your healing items, because if you take damage, if you don't heal up the damage, bandage it basically, you will like bleed out and die. And in order to kind of like stop yourself from getting killed, you need to build up your skills as well. So I've got here, so you need to increase your toughness, which reduces how much damage you take and determines how quickly you can recover from damage as well. And then you've got your combat skills, which are your attack and defense, kind of your crossbow skills, turret skills. Turret skills not sort of necessary, but if you're doing base defense, it's good to have. Then you've got your medical skills, or robotics if you're playing as a skeleton. And you've also got athletics as well, so in combat you may find yourself quickly overwhelmed by enemies, because it's quite... it can be quite chaotic at times, so you can have random squads just jumping into the fray of a battle, and then you can obviously find yourself like overwhelmed. So you need to have good athletic skills to allow you to run away, basically. It just lets you outrun enemies quite well, so long as they haven't also got high athletics. And then you can, once you get away, you can break line of sight and then lick your wounds, basically, recuperate. So yeah, that's kind of what we're going to start by doing. We're going to be trying to earn some money in order to get food and weapons and armor. Money will also help us buy healing items as well, obviously. And we're going to be trying to up our combat stats at the same time. It's kind of the way that the playthrough is going to be starting, is trying to earn money however we can, getting our combat skills up, and also trying to improve our medical abilities as well, because that will be crucial for this playthrough. Because I've set the difficulty settings. There's some parameters you can tune to up the difficulty. Up the damage multiplier for when you take hits and when you receive when you deal and receive damage. So it causes combat to be concluded quite rapidly, and it means things can be over in the blink of an eye, basically, if you mess up. I've also increased another parameter, which so one of the multipliers is like a damage multiplier, and the other one is a wound kind of multiplier. So if you're bleeding, you'll bleed out a lot faster. So it's crucial to have that medical ability so you can heal any kind of wounds. Because if you don't bandage your wounds, you die. You will die. So yeah. So we'll start with doing that, and then we're going to start progressing once we get those skills up high enough, because then we'll be able to take on more difficult opponents, make money in different ways. We can explore a bit as well, which tends to be quite good for weapons and armor as well, because you can loot old ancient facilities and stuff. So yeah, that kind of wraps up my intro. Quite rambly. If I haven't edited it down quite a lot. So next we will jump into the gameplay. I realised one thing. Before we jump into the gameplay, I should show you my current mod list. So I'm not playing completely vanilla. I don't think the gameplay should change that much compared to vanilla. What I've added is mostly some quality of life things, like a different UI, a nicer looking map overlay. I've added some kind of expansion factions, which are more towards like the edges of the map, just to kind of keep things interesting for myself, because I've played this quite a lot, and I'm quite familiar with the vanilla offerings already. So, I mean, if you wanted to kind of understand Kenshi and the systems, like how I'm going to be showing them, then it still will apply. I mean, there will maybe some like small minor differences, but anyway, I mean the mod list is here on the screen. For the most part, I'd say 95% of these mods will be available on the Steam Workshop. The other 5% are probably ones I've made myself or patches for something else. Yeah, I mean, now we can jump into the gameplay. So for this playthrough, I've selected my starting character to be a mechanical hive prince, which is a modded race, part of the mechanical hive races mod, I believe. I don't think it's too unbalanced. I just quite like the models, to be honest. But I think it's supposed to have, if I remember correctly, all the benefits of being a hive prince, basically. It's got all the stat modifications and the body part modifiers, but it's also got the drawback of being a skeleton as well, in that your body needs repairs instead of medkits. This is usually, I find, quite bad for early game. Not so much of a problem late game, but early game, the mechanical medkits, the repair kits and stuff, usually cost a lot more to get to purchase than regular medkits, and over time you will lose like total durability of your body parts. So you start at like with this character, you start with 130 on each of your body parts, but every time you take damage, it will like your max health will slowly be reduced until you find a repair bed, which are also not easy to find early game, and also will cost quite a lot to be able to rent one out from a way station or something. So taking that into account, I believe this early game is going to be quite difficult if I don't play it right. The first thing I want to do is to get a human meat shield, I think. And we are going to do that by recruiting someone from the bar. I think specifically for this permadeath playthrough, I'm going to be using quite a lot of meat shields, as it were. just because I tend to make mistakes, and I want there to be, well, I want the playthrough to go on as long as possible, and the more characters I have, the more lives I have. For example. So yeah, this is the bar. You can see there's a shopkeeper here. Just check what he's got. Start with 1,000 cats. Just going to buy some med kits so we can level up our medical, because even though we're a mechanical hiver, we still want to be able to heal up our fellows, our teammates. So I'm recording the voiceover in post, so I'm just watching through the footage at the moment. This guy Hobbs normally spawns inside the starting area for this. I'm not sure what you call it. This starting choice, which is I think Wanderer. You start off in the hub, which is a town like right in the middle of the map. And Hobbs is a good first partner because he's basically free. His stats are quite low. I'm not sure if I went through them, but yeah, there we go. You can see his toughness is 2, dex is 2, strength is 3. And what I've got, I'm not sure what to call them, characters? I've got the characters going off to basically mine iron right now, because iron is this iron node is going to be a replenishable resource, so we can just keep mining raw iron and take it up to the shop to sell, and that's going to help us pass some time while we wait for a chance to increase our stats. And we're going to increase our stats by basically sending in Hobbs to go take a beating, basically, and we'll be able to level up his toughness over time until he can actually like take enemies on in a straight fight, basically. Something else I'm going to want to be doing is get a crossbow. So with the modifiers to the difficulty that I've got, crossbows are actually quite good for finishing fights very quickly, because the high damage mod will cause basically 2 to 3 hit kills, and you got the advantage of range with the crossbow as well. But to get a crossbow, even a shitty one, is going to cost like 1,000 cats for just the crossbow, and then another 200 to 300 cats for each stack of ammunition, basically. Also, I was checking out those animals. They are going to be way too powerful to take on right now. Yeah, so this is a group of starving bandits. Normally they'll kind of approach you and like ask for food, and then if you don't give them anything, then they'll attack you. They are eventually gonna become hostile to you, so I usually just send people in to fight them, because their weapons are blunt weapons, so you have a very low chance of dying from them due to blood loss. You'll end up like losing consciousness before you end up bleeding out as well, which is nice. So here I'm sending Hobbs off to basically get knocked out. I can't remember how much damage he was able to take. I know he went down pretty quickly, and he dodged, and then he immediately just got knocked out. So you see his when your health goes below 100 for a body part, that is your chest, stomach, or head. you will get knocked out. I think it's immediately. And if your toughness isn't high enough, then you will go into a coma unless you get your health points for that body part back above 0. If it goes below 0, not below 100. Yeah, so Hobbs got hit in the head, so he went down. He also got hit in the arms. If you're in this difficulty setup that I've got, if your body part integrity for your limbs goes below -100, then they will fall off, and you'll need to get replacement limbs if that happens. So it was quite risky with Hobbs going to about like -40 there, because he could have gone lower. Because if he didn't get hit in the head, they would have carried on attacking him, and then they could have just like kept attacking his arm, and then he would have lost his arm and then probably died of blood loss. So what I've done is bandaged Hobbs up, and then I went back to mining. After mining, I collected the raw iron, and I'm now taking it back to the shop to sell, and that should give us, I think, 5 iron for 77 apiece, which would be about 400 cats. Yeah, and this is the point where I bought myself a crossbow, I believe. I was just checking out the prices of everything. Yeah, so something that also happened when Hobbs got knocked out is the bandits stole some cats from him, so that wasn't great either. I kind of completely forgot that could happen. So yeah, if they didn't take any of my cash, I probably would have been able to afford the crossbow plus some ammo, I think. But hey ho, it happens. So I bought my ship, and then I'm going to take Hobbs over to a bed to recuperate. In the bed, just like a normal camping bed like that, I think you will regenerate your health 5 times faster. So if we look at Hobbs in a second here, I think you'll be able to see what health he's at. And that's going to start... Oh, it jumps to the next clip. I think one of these next clips will cover it. But, yeah, that's just a starving bandit. Just running off on their own. Yes, this is the faction menu. I guess I was just going through all the stuff, renaming it to Permadeath. Rename the squad as well, clearly. But yeah, I mean, just to kind of bring it back into focus, this early game is going to be quite slow, kind of tedious, well, at least in the way I play. It's just like slowly building resources, hiding when dust bandits come along, because they've got bladed weapons, so those will cause you to bleed out if you get hit by them without any armor. I was expecting at this point, I think, for the dust bandits to attack the nomads there, but they didn't end up actually attacking, because what I wanted to do was wait until they started killing each other, and then after it was over I would go and loot everything, get some better weapons, better armor, maybe some cash as well, but unfortunately that did not happen. The only casualty there was the starving bandit that I was inspecting, so I just creep up and go to town looting that body. I don't think there was much on it, maybe a weapon and a few cats, Yeah, that was showing off Hobbs's body integrity. He's gone above 0, so he can wake back up on his own now. But we were just going to keep him in bed until he's fully recovered. So I think I just take everything here. Yep. So all easy cash. Yes, and I've realised a bit too late that I could have spent some time increasing my medic skill by bandaging up the bandit, but I realised too late, and he's already dead before I can actually do much work on him. Sometimes I find it useful just to kind of, if you see someone that's downed, just heal them. You'll get a bit of faction rep with them, which can be good, because that means they'll come to your aid if you manage to ally them. And also you just increase your medical skill, which is quite nice. I remember one of my old playthroughs, I basically started off as like a travelling doctor that would just like heal people up, and eventually like my medic skill got quite high, which was good for early game, and made a few allies that way as well, or maybe not allies, but at least like friendly terms. So I think I showed off Hobbs coming back. He finished resting up, and then I took his hat and put it on Raven because it gives better perception, which you need for when you're using a crossbow. It helps to, I think it helps accuracy, and also stops you from hitting your teammates as well, because that can also happen. So that's the end of the recordings that I've got. It's pretty much the same thing. You just go collecting resources, getting cash through like renewable means, training up your skills, just throwing your pawns into a fight to try and train up their skills. And I find the best tactic as well is to keep half of your, well, maybe not half, but like some portion of your team out of the fight, so that they can come in and heal. Otherwise you'll get a situation where everyone's down, and then no one is conscious enough to be able to heal before the bleed out stage happens, and then you get like a bunch of character deaths, which is unfortunate. So yeah, I tend to leave one person out of the fight, which for this playthrough will be the Raven, because if he takes damage, I don't have a method to repair him just yet, because we haven't got any medkits, repair kits, and also we don't want to reduce his max health either, but that will probably start to change once we get repair kits. So that's it for now. Yeah.